Well, Senator Farrell has come in yet again. Welcome back, by the way, Senator Steele-John. Back for 2024. Welcome back, colleagues. And yet here we are again. We did think we were going to have NDIS Monday. We didn't sit yesterday, so we got NDIS Tuesday. Transmission Tuesday, I'm sure I'll be back again this year. But, here we are again, because Senator Farrell has, I think this is the third or fourth time now, refused to provide an effective and full response to a request by this Senate to show us how the sustainability framework is going to work. Now, Senator Birmingham this morning, and to Senator Reynolds' point, has made the points in the chamber about how important it is to tell the truth. But not only is it important to tell the truth, we went to the election with the now Prime Minister Albanese saying ad nauseum that his would be a government of transparency. His word was his bond. Well, we all know how true that now is, that the bond is about as strong as tissue paper when it comes to the strength of it, because the number of promises that have been broken by this government, despite claiming there would be no changes to superannuation, despite claiming that they would take $275 off Australians' power bills, that they would stand by the stage 3 tax cuts that they voted for, that there are so many broken promises. As the mother of an NDIS participant, who's someone who received a text message this morning from the father of an NDIS participant asking for assistance, I can assure you that those on the NDIS and their families do not trust you, that they do not believe you, because we have heard nothing about how this 8% figure has been reached. And to Senator Reynolds' point, she's completely correct, and to Senator Steele-John's points, the only way you do that is by cutting participants or cutting plans. And, one of the things that I'm very proud of since I've been here, and Senator Steele-John was on the committee with me when we did the Senate Select Committee into Autism, the first time ever a whole-of-life committee inquiry had been held into how autism affected people with the condition as well as their families through the whole of life. And one of our recommendations, in fact the first recommendation, was the development of a national autism strategy. Now, that was funded by us when we were in government, that would be developed. It was an accepted recommendation, forcing the then Labor opposition to actually stump up the same amount of funding to develop the national autism strategy. Well, we're now getting very close to 2 years of this government, and yet we're still waiting. And I think why this is important is because we know autism is one of the largest number of diagnosed conditions on the NDIS. We know in autism that effective early intervention will change the trajectory of a child's life. But we also know that there are too many children being given autism level 2 and 3 diagnosis since the change of the DSM that don't have permanent and lifelong disabilities. And the NDIS should not be the only lifeboat in the ocean, and the state governments should be there to supply lots of those community supports in both things like OT, psychology, speech therapy, to give those kids that got a bit of a developmental delay a bit of a bump, a bit of a help, a bit of assistance, but certainly not something that they should be on the NDIS for their whole life. We know that there will be cuts to participants, and we know that there will probably be cuts to the participants that get to stay their plan, because there is no other way to do it. And we know Peter Garrett told us when he was a member of the Labor Party that, don't worry, we'll say one thing before the election and we'll change it when we all get in. Well, that's what's happening now. Clearly the Labor Party has not changed its stripes. And I mean, the other thing that's really disturbing for a lot of the NDIS participants and their families is that there is no interest in actually getting the NDIS to work better, that we actually encourage parents that are capable to self-manage their plans, which would reduce costs, which would open up choice of therapists. We know that all that Minister Shorten's interested in is actually boosting HSU members, that this is actually about driving membership to the HSU, not about supporting participant. I mean, I was mentioning this morning in a conversation, it'd be nice if they even put a veneer on it, that it wasn't just about a union membership drive. But we know that's what they want to do in making it harder to self-manage and harder to access providers who aren't part of the big providers who aren't member unions.
Thank you, Senator.